everyone. Welcome back to our weekly wellness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Rebekah, and today we have joining us Dr. Jason Epstein, who is our Executive Medical Director.
Hello.
So, Dr. Jason, thanks so much for being here today.
Of course, you're welcome. Glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you. I know it's been a minute since you've been on our podcast, so welcome back.
Yeah, different, whole different everything.
Yes.
No more brick wall. And
I know. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Very
Good.
Refreshing. Lots of nice greens.
Light.
So.
I've dressed up for the occasion, of course.
Exactly. So. Yes. Blending in with the couch.
Yeah.
Just for context, for either those who joined us a long time ago, or maybe it's their first time watching, could you give us a little bit of an introduction into who you are, your journey in vet med, and what you do with My Pets Wellness?
Sure. So I'm Dr. Jason Epstein. I'm our Executive Medical Director. I have been with My Pets Wellness since the beginning. I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina. I went to the University of Georgia for 8 years.
Good odds.
So I stayed there for vet school, practiced a little bit in Colorado, practiced here in Tennessee for a while, and then found the team here at PWA, Pets Wellness Alliance, is what we've eventually turned into My Pets Wellness. So. Yeah. My role as Executive Medical Director, I manage our practice management team. So they oversee a lot of the operations and logistics and manage all of our veterinarians and our network lead technicians and our technicians. And then I also oversee our medical support team. And so that consists of our medical support director and her team of senior veterinarians and senior technicians that are responsible for the coaching and mentorship and training and development of our teams and new program rollouts and new projects. And so it's been quite the adventure.
Yeah, it sounds like quite the journey too.
Yeah. It wasn't exactly the role I thought I signed on for 2 years ago. It was like, we're going to have some clinics in Nashville. You can be the medical director over here, and then we'll have another network or two. And now it's like, you're all of the things. So
that's amazing.
But it's been an honor to grow with this role and with this company.
Absolutely. It sounds like quite the adventure, and it sounds like you have a lot of really great context from all of your prior experiences and then your experiences here to speak from, with that insight. And that perspective, which is great. So super happy to have you. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about challenges specifically that occur around the holiday season, right? So we're nearing the end of the year, which is wild. Still can't believe we're there quite yet.
Denial.
But we are getting close to the end of the year and the holiday season, right? What would you say is one of the most challenging things in your mind about this time of year, whether from a kind of personal standpoint or a professional standpoint? What do you see veterinary professionals or with you yourself, struggling with around the holidays?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's kind of twofold. I think the first is on a kind of personal professional level. This is the time of year we all want to be with our families. We want to be with our kids. We want to travel to be with our extended family, and thank God this is a year where we can actually travel and be with people again. And as a veterinarian in practice, I've always struggled with this pseudo guilt of leaving my hospital. Or I only get one of the holidays. I get off Thanksgiving and Black Friday, but I don't get off before or after Christmas or New Year's. And so there's always this even in general practice, you can't really travel for 4, 5, 6 days around Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. And so and when you do, you feel guilty because you feel like you're leaving your team high and dry. And so there's personal stresses on that level. And I think the other side, is when you're in practice, the thing that most non-veterinarians I've spoken to, family and friends and colleagues in the company, is this is the time of year that we often see more euthanasias than any other time of the year. And it really comes as a surprise to a lot of people, but to me it makes perfect sense. This is the time of year you're around your dog the most. You're home around Thanksgiving, you're home around the holidays, and that is when you realize your 14, 15, 17, 9-year-old senior pet not nearly as good as you think they're doing in the 1 to 2 hours a day you see them.
Right.
When you're now home for 10 to 12 hours a day.
Yeah. Or when relatives or friends are coming over and they're like, hey, is that normal? Should Fluffy be doing that?
Yeah, she wasn't doing that last year.
Yeah. Fluffy looks painful.
And
that's
so
an interesting point. Yeah.
It's a really tough time for our nurses, for our doctors that are actually out in practice that are going through this. And it's a time of year that a lot of people are tighter on their finances.
Yeah.
Because they are investing in travel. They are investing in gifts and other things around the holidays. And so we see, our patients often sometimes get the short end of the stick there.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I can imagine from kind of the combination, like you said, of that personal guilt of I'm leaving my team and can I really justify this, to the professional, like we're seeing more euthanasias. And it's already, for a lot of people, I feel like with COVID and not necessarily being able to see family or having family that maybe was lost in the last couple of years, I think already a challenging time, right? But to have these kind of compounded on that seems like it would probably be a perfect storm for a lot of folks.
Yeah. I mean, I know there are a lot of people. That's another key thing that I didn't even think through is how many people this is their, first or second set of holidays without their grandparent or their parent or their spouse that we've lost in the pandemic. Or even for non-pandemic reasons. This will be my second set of holidays since my mom passed, and it's different for sure.
Yeah, and it's, I think, uniquely challenging around the holidays, and with the shorter days and everything, it's just a kind of really fun combination ultimately.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Do you have any recommendations for veterinary professionals who are finding themselves kind of in these situations where it does seem maybe more challenging, or this year particularly maybe more challenging than years past? Anything you've done that you can give to others?
I think the first for me is there has to be a moment of self-reflection and boundaries and investing the time to work on how to be okay, realizing that you're a human being first and a veterinarian second.
That's key.
A lot of us lose relationships over that. A lot of us lose identity, stop doing the things that make us ourselves. And if we don't set boundaries and say I'm a human, I'm gonna go see my mama, I'm gonna go see my dad, I'm gonna go be with my family, that, you have to realize that if you don't and set a boundary and say it's okay to go over here and fill my cup, it's okay to go and get back to 100%. I think that it's going to make the holidays not even worth the time off. You've got to be willing to be okay and just be, like our core value. It's trust your team and be vulnerable. Trust the people you work with and say, hey, I'm struggling. I'm feeling bad about leaving you guys for Thanksgiving. And if you work with non-terrible humans, they will tell you, go be with your family. We got this.
Enjoy your time.
Even if they don't got this, they're going to tell you, go be with your family. We got this. Because you work with non-terrible humans.
All right, you hear the mission, everyone.
You have to be able to be vulnerable with the people you work with and just be I'm not feeling good about this. And you have to be able to also, know that you can say all right, I'm going to be with my family. I'm off. Don't call me. Don't bug me. Because again, if you're not fully detached, then you're not present with your family, and that cup's not going to get filled back up.
Absolutely. I think those boundaries are critical, and because of that guilt that you feel when you're leaving your team, which is almost like an extended family sometimes, right? You spend a ton of time with your immediate team. I think because of that guilt, it's hard to say, okay, I'm going to prioritize myself. And I'm going to prioritize filling my own cup. So I think that's super, super important. And that vulnerable kind of communication and authenticity, I think, is super important with your very close team that you're working with. If you're a DVM struggling with a lot of the issues that we talk about on this podcast, scratch that. If you're a DVM struggling with even just one of these issues, I hope you'll consider joining us at one of our weekly wellness rounds. We're an online community of veterinarians who come together every week to discuss our experiences and our struggles when it comes to mental health, or even just things that are affecting us week to week. This is a time that I personally look forward to every week because it lets me take a break to really invest in myself. Moderated by our very own Director of Wellness and Personal Growth, Dr. Rodney Robertson, Weekly Wellness Rounds is somewhere you can gain perspective and wisdom from other veterinary professionals who've gone through similar experiences. Whether it's a challenging client, a heartbreaking case, or simply just not the best day, Weekly Wellness Rounds is a time where you can come and just lay it all out there. And if you're not the sharing type, that's also perfectly fine. You can always just hop in and listen to people who are going through similar struggles. You can register and join our weekly wellness rounds by visiting our DVM support website at mypetswellness.net/DVM support. And no, this is not only available to My Pets Wellness doctors. Whether you're in California, Connecticut, Florida, Alaska, or somewhere else entirely, this is a time where any and all DVMs are welcome to join in the conversation. Weekly wellness rounds are held via Zoom on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. So come join us and see how a community of doctors just like yourself can not just survive in vet med, but can thrive in it. We hope to see you there. You mentioned earlier the medical support team that you oversee and some of the things that they do. And you mentioned like mentorship and coaching and training. Is there anything that you feel like companies can be doing to better support their teams during these periods? Because I feel like it sounds like this is not unexpected that people might be struggling.
Yeah, I think that's super valid. I think that talking about it and as a leadership team, making sure everyone knows that boundaries are encouraged.
Right.
Like, you're going on PTO.
Yeah.
Go away, and making sure that the communication to the staff is like, don't bug her, she's gone.
Right.
Don't bug him, they're gone. Like,
right.
You have to be willing to have your teams back and let people know, like, we may be tight on people for a few days. Like, it may be a tough 3 days.
Right.
But, like, the sky's not falling, Chicken Little. Like,
right.
Calm down. Like,
we're gonna be okay.
We're gonna be all right. Like,
yep.
you can go on vacation, and the entire company won't fall apart without you.
Yeah.
And if the leadership is coming in and saying, "Hey, it's June. You haven't taken PTO this year. Like,
right.
Where are you going? Let me help you plan a vacation.
Exactly.
Get
out."
Like, and I think it's our job as leaders in this industry to put our teams in position to take PTO, to encourage them to take their time.
Right.
Whether it's holidays or not, like, you gotta go fill your cup.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think having a leadership team that is invested in their team members on an individual level, and is really, there to support them and there to encourage them, I think is critical. And it sounds like you've been able to build that team, which is super exciting and I think pretty unique.
Yeah, I'm super proud of this team, because when I think back 2 years ago, it was just like me.
It was you, yeah.
Yeah,
you were the team.
I was the all of it. And we all have strengths and weaknesses, and
right.
if you can't tell, I'm a bit of a talker, and I'm like, wherever you sit on the Myers-Briggs of like most empath human, like I'm like right on the other side of that on more than that.
Yeah.
So like I connect to people really strong. I get really attached, and so it's really difficult for me sometimes to do some of the things that need to be done, some of those harder conversations.
Right.
And I still have to have them, but having built a team that can connect with different types of personalities, that know how to approach different team members, that we have the best group of lead technicians. Like, good luck. Like, you're not gonna find better. Yeah. And it's not because they're the best at blood draws. It's because they can be vulnerable. They can be held accountable. Yep. They're dependable. The teams will go to them for anything, and they will do anything as long as they are on the clock. And they're pretty good, usually, about actually being gone when they're gone.
Yes.
And the senior doctors fall into that same boat. Like, they're great when they're in the rooms and practicing, and we're starting to really see that rapport get built with our teams. And Yeah, I couldn't be more proud.
It's exciting. It sounds like there's been quite a journey there from when you first started, and I'm sure there will be a continued journey over the next 2 years. So I'm very excited to see how that continues to evolve, because it sounds like it's been a kind of ever-changing process, and always working towards the bettering of the teams and the bettering of our patients' health, which really, like, that is such an inspiring mission.
Yeah.
So very excited.
It's exciting. I mean, we started, there were 2 doctors in the company, and 20, 23, 25, I don't know, now, and continuing to add to that list. And it's just super exciting to see all walks of life and all career paths and all levels of experience that share our mission and our values of what really matter, and really see the same struggles we see in the industry, and agree that the way we want to help veterinary medicine be better, they're in the boat and rowing with us. And
absolutely, I love that.
Yeah,
in the boat rowing with us. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insight, and for, again, I don't want to overuse the word, but for the vulnerability in sharing some of your experiences and what you've done to try to fill your cup. Really appreciate it, as always.
I'm a pretty open book, so ask a question, you may get more than you bargained for.
Fantastic. All right, I love that. Well, super happy to have you on the podcast today. Thank you for joining, and thank you to everyone who joined us. We look forward to having you next time. Take care.
Thanks.